Hello YouTube friends, this is Richard Matthews, also known as Mess About One in Scottsboro, Alabama. And today is February 26th, year 2015. And as you can see behind me, we have had an unusual event here in the deep south, in the northeast corner of Alabama. And I didn't want to miss the opportunity to get out this morning with a camera and capture some of the unusual snow beauty here in northeastern Alabama that is a real rare thing for us here. So I'm kind of boned up. It's not real cold. There's a lot of snow around. We had last night had about 10 inches of snow here where I am. So that is a classic snow for this area of the south. But anyway, I want to walk around and let you just see some of the beauty. And it's really stacked up. I and my two girls got out yesterday and played in the snow, made a snowman, threw snowballs, wrestled around the snow and such as that. But anyway, I'm not going to occupy a lot of the time by talking a lot, but I do want to get out and just kind of walk around and let you see the beauty of the area. I'll let you look back around. And already the snow is falling out of the trees. Snow doesn't last a long time in this area. It'll melt real quickly. But as you can see, I'll walk down and show you our snowman down here. We've already had some traffic out on the road this morning, so the road is already drying up some and it's passable. And our snowman, after we made him, he kind of got snowed on last night, so we had fun making him anyway. But it's very beautiful. Tried to get the camera in the right orientation this morning. And I suppose I have everything hooked up, at least I hope I do. Get my hood out of the way here. And it's very comfortable out here right now. I bundled up quite a bit, but I'd say it's probably maybe mid-30s right now, probably approaching 40. Still quite a bit overcast. But our snow started yesterday afternoon about, I guess it's 2 or 2:30 in the afternoon. It first started just a little bit of drizzling rain, icy rain, but then very quickly turned over to all snow, and it snowed until about, I guess, 10 o'clock last night. And over those, that would have been about 8 hours, we got about an inch per hour. So by 10 o'clock, we had about 10 inches of snow. So I guess that's a little more than an inch per hour. Anyway, people around here just kind of go crazy when you get a big snow. Normally our snows will be maybe an inch or two, and they'll be gone the same day. Now this one will stay on a few days. Like I say, it melts pretty quick, and you can see the melting already here where I'm walking. It's just about completely melted on the road. So it melts pretty quick around here, and it's falling out of the trees, and it'll get back to normal pretty quickly. But for right now, we have a bit of a winter wonderland here in Scottsboro, Alabama. This is my 70th year. I'll be 70, my birthday this year. And the biggest snow that I can ever remember around here, we lived on one of the higher elevations around here back in the 50s. In about 1958, we had an 18-inch snow in that area, which is unheard of. In my lifetime, that's the biggest snow that I can remember here in this area. And this one comes pretty close. I think back in the 90s, we had maybe one that was close to this, maybe not quite this heavy of a snow. But the conditions just have to be just right for us to get a good sized snow. I think this one that came yesterday, we had cold air from the north, and then we had moisture move up from the Gulf of Mexico. And when that mixed, we got what you see on the ground here. And you can probably hear the crunch of the ice under my feet here. I'm walking on, well, as you can tell by the video, walking down a street here, a paved street. And I'd say probably by midday, most of the streets, the travel streets around here will be completely safe and passable. It doesn't look bad at all. And you should be able to see a lot of the snow falling off the trees in the background. My last video I made with a little camera walking like this, I kind of had it tilted a little too much and it kept cutting off the top of my head in the video. So I'm trying not to do that on this one. And I don't have any way to tell exactly where I am in the camera view. Looking at it this way, on the back side, you can see what the camera is seeing, but I'm on the front side. Yeah, I see one vehicle going by up here on the main road. I'm on Byron Road right now, about to go off on County Park. It looks like the city has a road grader. If I can turn it around and let you see the road grader. And they're going out with the grader and scraping on the city streets. And there's another city truck right behind him. So they're working on getting everything back in working condition around here, which is good. People have to get out and go to their jobs and take care of other matters. Our local schools have closed today, of course. They'll be closed today, and I wouldn't doubt what they'll be closed again tomorrow. And some people say the folks in the South don't deal with snow and ice as good as people up in the northern areas do. And I'm sure that's very true, since we don't have it a lot. Yeah, I'm on County Park Road now. This is a little 2-lane road that runs down to what is called Jackson County Park, down by the lake, down by Guntersville Lake. So I might walk down this way till I get tired. And I was watching one of my other friends on YouTube this morning, Renato. Renato puts up a video every morning. Lives up in Ohio. Of course, he has snow up there. I think they keep snow up there during wintertime. But he has kind of a little rig like I have here with a little monopod rod that holds a GoPro camera. And I use a little adapter that ties the camera into the microphone, a little lapel microphone into the camera to give you better sound. And in just the last few days, he had rigged up the same for himself. And he was out walking in his video, which was uploaded this morning, out walking down by, I think what they call, he lives in Canal, Winchester, Ohio. And his house is close to an old canal, and he likes to get out and walk down through there. So he was out walking this morning in snow, and he was going down a mud bank close to the canal, and he slipped, and of course the camera went wild. And then the next thing you heard was all kind of profanities, which is, Renato is known for at times, and times of stress. And he had fallen. The little connector to the camera, the microphone connector to the camera, sticks out about 1 inch on the side of the camera. And he had fallen and broken his new microphone connector. And I think his last statement was he was headed to Best Buy to get another one before the day was over. So, he had a little bad luck this morning. It's real pretty. I'm going to turn around and show you what I'm facing here. Just a beautiful little scene down through here, with woods off to my left and houses off to the right. Everything just covered up. Like I say, 10 inches. Which is some kind of record for this part of the country. And the way it goes around here, about a week from now, we'll have 60 or 65 degrees in warmth. And I guess a lot of people like me, they love the beauty of the snow, and and the fun that the kids have playing in it. Because it's so rare. But then they're glad to see it go too and get back to normal things. And ours gets real messy real quick. It's a wet snow. See if I can get a handful of it here. It's a wet snow, and it'll just wet your hands and your clothes real quick. It doesn't get icy very often. It just it's melting almost when it falls. And I see some kids off making a snowman over here on the right. See if I can get a photo of them. Hello.
How are you?
Having fun, huh?
Well, we're trying.
Good. Beautiful, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. There's the neighbors there making out, mother and the son out making a snowman this morning before the snow melts. I'll show you a tree here. A beautiful old tree. Just loaded down with snow. And maybe I won't make you seasick by bouncing the camera around. I think I've told you before, YouTube has a real good function, some software they have in their system. When you upload a video like this, it's got a lot of bouncing and shaking in it. Their smart computer system recognizes that your video is bouncing and shaking. So they prompt you on the screen and they say, "We have noticed your video is quite shaky. Would you like for us to fix it for you?" Of course, you got the option to say yes or no. And it does a good job. If you say yes, for whatever complicated algorithm they have in their software, it'll take that and it'll take a lot of the shakiness out. So that helps some. It helps some to not to shake the camera around any more than you have to when you're filming. And it's about a half mile down to the county park. And I thought what I would do is just walk down to the county park. And I think there might be some pretty scenes down there. Plus I'll get my morning exercise in, which is important. And I've been trying to go, well, I don't go every day. Every other day, I guess, is my average right now. And I get out and go to our local gym, our local recreation complex. And they have an indoor walking track. So I go to the indoor track and walk for a good fast 30 minutes. And they have a very good workout room there with all kind of weight machines and aerobic machines and whatever. And then I'll spend about 45 minutes or an hour on the weight machines, and I think it does me good. I'm kind of an advocate, especially for us older folks, of trying to keep yourself in a little bit decent shape. It makes your life easier, and I think it helps you recover from sicknesses easier, and I think it just makes a more enjoyable life altogether. Of course, the workouts are not so easy, but I think I've said before that some of the times that I feel the best is after I've gone and done my long walks and got out and done some physical exercise. And if you think about it, unless you really have a physical job, we don't get a lot of good exercise. I have a house here behind me that I need to show you, and it looks like what has happened, that the snow is melting and it's sliding off the roof. It's kind of a hip roof. It's very, very unusual. You can see where that's kind of scalloped there, where it's sliding off the roof. And that's amazing that snow can stick together like that, have that kind of adhesion. That's really amazing. And we had some power outages around. I heard this morning there's still some people without power. And I think it's not the buildup of the ice on the lines as much as it's a buildup of snow on the trees or limbs, and bend over or break and hit the lines, and it shorts it out, turns off the electricity for a while, and that's not good on a snowy night, I guess. But I think most of them are back on this morning, and you can't see it now, but back behind the camera there is a elevated plateau. I've told before that down here we're about 600 feet above sea level here in the valley, Tennessee Valley, and up on that plateau called Sand Mountain, it goes up to about 1,400 square feet, 1,400 feet above sea level. And last night everybody trying to get home from working in the middle of the afternoon, and at one time they said there's a road, Highway 35, Alabama 35, that goes up Sand Mountain. And they said last night, at worst, there was about 75 vehicles stranded on the side of that steep road going up the mountain. And I think they called out the local highway patrol and county sheriff's department and a rescue squad with vehicles with chains on them. And they went up and rescued those people on the side of the mountain so they wouldn't have to spend the night out in the cold. And I haven't heard of any bad injuries around so far. I'm sure there's been some wrecks and whatever. I'm gonna get off of this main road, which is County Park Road, and walk down through, if I can find the walking trail that goes through the park. There's been one vehicle down through here. Somebody had to get out and do a donut in the fresh snow. But I may not be able to find the walking trail. We'll see. And you hear it crunching. It's kind of icy there, and that's a snow cruncher here and there. Lovely sound when you're not used to it. Show you some evergreens here. Look like some hemlocks. And it looked like something you'd see somewhere north of the Mason-Dixon line. Back to the park there, you see the snow falling, the chunks of snow falling off the trees. Beautiful. So let's see if we can find the walking trail. This is the same trail I came to on one of my earlier videos. You may remember seeing it when there was no snow on the ground. And nope, I'm not going to be able to find the walking trail. So we're trudging through the snow right now. It's still enjoyable. I know mainly where it is, but not fully where it is. It looked like there may have been one person out this morning trying to find the trail also. It's amazing, the sun is not out, it's still overcast quite a bit. It's amazing how much difference this makes with all the white on the ground. This little creek here, maybe I won't step off in the creek. Little bridge that goes across a little creek. Like I say, I'm real close here to Guntersville Lake, another 100 yards down from this little creek. And you'd be in Guntersville Lake. Mighty pretty, mighty pretty. And I just couldn't stand to lay in. It's about 8:30, 8:45 now. So I just couldn't stand to lay in bed this morning without getting out and taking a video of some of this. You can see where I've trudged through the snow back there. I think it's a little deeper here than what it was at my house. Maybe my imagination, I suppose. I think I see the trail from here. So we may get it back on the trail. And I think I've actually put on too many layers this morning, kind of getting into a sweat. I guess that's better than being cold, though, I suppose. Yeah, I see a few little birds out trying to find something to eat this morning. It's going to be hard. Everything's about 10 inches down. but they'll make do. Like I say, it'll be melted off by the weekend for sure. Oh yeah, find a little trail here and see quite a few little deer tracks. We have a bunch of white-tailed deer in this area. I mean, they're just almost like pets. And you see where they've been out tramping around in the snow this morning. Also trying to find a breakfast, I guess. And I am back on the trail, looks like. I'm the only one that's been in this part of it. One of our park swings here, all covered up with snow. And the trail's not too hard to follow right here. It's down through there's a lot of bushes, vegetation on the side here. That's obvious where the trail goes here. And like I say, it's like a winter wonderland for us southern folks. And we benchmark times in our lives by the big snows that we've had. So you'll be a lot of kids will remember this one years hence. The one in '58, we lived on a farm at that time. And I've told in one of my previous YouTube videos, I had a little pet, we call them Feist dogs, terrier, named Tippy. And my memory of that snow is both sweet and bittersweet and sad. In that, in those days, you didn't have real good forecast. We went to bed the night before with no indication. It was in March, early March of '58. But we'd had no indication it was going to snow that night. And Tippy was an outside dog, so we didn't worry, you know. He kind of was tough and took care of himself. But we got up the next morning, and it was 18-inch snow on. And Tippy was not seen after that. And I suppose what he did is maybe got in under a building or somebody's shelter and then got snowed in with that 18-inch snow. We looked for him for a long time. I was just horrified. Thought of him being out in the freezing bad snowy weather. We never found him. So I lost Tippy in that snow. And I see some rabbit marks here, looks like. Kind of spread out and and then same snow. I remember we had the only way we could get around. We lived on a country road. And it's deep here. The unpaved road. And the only way we could get around, or any other people could get around, we had an old tractor that we used on the farm. And I remember us cranking it up, and it would go through the snow, but the snow was actually high enough that it scrubbed the underbelly. And tractors are pretty high off the ground. It scrubbed the underbelly of the tractor. Get a little out of breath here. Had to climb a little hill down there. Walking and talking will take your breath. And the lake looks beautiful. I'll turn it around here in a minute. I'll turn it around right now. Let's just see part of the lake. Anyway, back to my story. Another sad thing that I remember during that storm was my grandmother, my mother's mother, Alice Jones, was very sick at that time at my aunt's house, which was close to where we lived. And my mother and I spent most of that big snow at my aunt's house. They were caring for my grandmother. And she got so bad that they, I think, got hold of the county anyway, and they brought a road grader to that area and graded the little road which came up to my aunt's house, which is about, I guess, 3 or 4 miles off the main road, so they could get an ambulance in and take my grandmother to the hospital. And as I remember, I don't think she ever made it back out of the hospital. I think she died a few days later. So there again, that's kind of You always have good memories that go with bad memories. But I guess you dwell on the good and try to make sense out of the bad. I'm gonna turn around here. This is pretty. And that is Gunnersville Lake you're seeing there. Huge lake that stretches, I don't know, probably 75 miles. The Tennessee River is right over behind the ridge that you're seeing over there. And to the left is upriver, to the right is downriver. And that's Sand Mountain you'll see off in the distance over there too. You can see some snow up on the bluffs and some houses up there. But mighty pretty. Just beautiful. And one good thing about this walk, I'm not crowded by other walkers or even cars. I've seen a car or two that greater, and I think one other vehicle. There's been some cars through here this morning, but it's still, I'd say this was still a little iffy right here unless you have a four-wheel drive. But snow is soft, and there's already some bare spots here. There's one thing I've noticed, and it's enjoyable. It's not so noticeable now because I'm yakking so much, but it's how quiet it gets when it comes to snow. I suppose the snow kind of absorbs sound reflections or whatever, and people are not out and around. And it's just quiet. I'm gonna shut my trap for a little bit and let you hear the quietness other than my crunch. And as you can see there, I'm approaching a dock up here, boat dock, whatever you want to call it. And it looked like the only thing that's been out here is some kind of little animal. The old seagull, I scared him off his post roofs there. And you'll see some coots, water chickens. And this snow on the dock is definitely deeper. And I have on a pair of pretty good boots, but snow is coming up about 6 inches above them. So I may have wet feet before this journey is over. There's not many times in civilized areas where you get to go somewhere for the first time, but I can say I'm the first one to walk on this fresh fallen snow on this dock. May the 1st. Somebody will be disappointed. The second guy comes along will be disappointed. And a little, maybe a seagull's making these tracks out here. Something that walked all over the snow. So I'm not the first animal to make it out here, I guess. Give you another view of the marina over on the far side, which is an island you're seeing there. And then even beyond that, out another maybe 5 miles, is the mountain plateau. And you see your old seagulls. And I've always said if I was a seagull and had the ability to fly and didn't have a full-time job or a family to keep me somewhere, I'd go south instead of north in the wintertime. I'd go to Key West or maybe Acapulco, Cozumel, somewhere down that way. But I think seagulls have found this river is rich in all kind of fish. And I think they found if they come north, we're about 350 miles from the Gulf of Mexico here. And they have found if they, in the wintertime, they don't come in the summertime at all. You won't see a single seagull here in the summertime. But they have found, they come in after it, late fall, early winter. And I think they found if they come up here this time of the year, the fishing, the picking in the lake is real good. And we have hundreds, several hundreds. And even last year, we had some pelicans stop by. I guess they were migrating maybe. But we had a flock of pelicans come in, spend some time on the river. And I suppose they were feeding also. I love that sound. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I would not love the sound if I fell off in that cold water. And I'm at the end of the dock here, so I got to get a hold of a post. I'm back on concrete. Has a different sound to it, doesn't it? The other one's kind of a hollow due to being up on the boards of the dock. Kind of a hollow sound. This is solid for sure. And I'll blame it on a teenager. Some Nimrod has tried to turn over a picnic table here. And I'm going to be a good citizen and see if I can set it back up. Let's see how hard that'll be. Done. Too many teenage hormones, I guess. Didn't we all have them? I suppose we did. Now there's a perfectly good place to walk here, where it's dried out kind of. But I like the sound of the crunch of the snow. I think I'll just walk in it. And before too long, to come down here and make this walk, you'd need on shorts, maybe a t-shirt, a sun hat, and something to wipe the sweat with, because before too long it'll be 98, 100 degrees down here in the summertime. We stay in the 90s after about, I guess, June till September. We had some fairly cold weather this winter. This is I guess the third snow we've had. The other two were just dusting, just very minor. We had some nights it went down into single digits, like down to, I think we got down to 7 degrees one night. But then a couple of days later, it was back up to 60, 65 Fahrenheit. It's funny, knowing YouTube videos are watched all over the world, and I watch them from different places in Canada and Australia, England, and some people talk about centimeters, millimeters, centimeters, kilometers. Others talk about feet and inches and miles, or Fahrenheit or Celsius. Makes it kind of confusing. I guess it shows you the diversity that existed around the world. You'd think with the modern communication, like the internet and everything, we'd all be more, I guess we are getting more alike. Pretty sure we are. But I think there's a kind of a pride thing there in keeping your measurement systems maybe the way they've always been. We had a push here in this country, and back in the 70s, we were going to convert to metric. And the problem was, instead of just saying from now on everything will be metric, we tried to use both systems. So we were continually having to convert. I worked in engineering for years and years, 50 years, something. We were continually having to convert from metric to English. And we felt more comfortable in English using our standard measurement form. And so did the fabricators and machinists. They felt more comfortable with it. It's what they'd always used. And before long, we went from trying to do metric to only doing metric when we had to. And I truthfully say that metric is simpler when you start using decimals and get away from inches. It's easier, but it's harder if you try to have to convert everything. And still today, some of the engineering I do, we do it in inches. A lot of the architects do things in feet and inches. Normally the organizations like NASA or the Army, the military, try to convert over and do it in metric, but still you find a lot of, we call them English measurements, numbers, system. And I'm walking down to an old dock here that I had 3 houseboats on over the years. First houseboat I ever owned, I bought down here, and it was an old shanty boat, and it's gone now. I noticed the last time I was down here, the old shanty boat's gone. The second boat I owned, houseboat, is still over on another dock there, and it's still pretty good shape. The ones I bought were in such bad shape, I had to refurbish them to make them usable. The second one turned out to be a pretty nice little boat. And then the third one I owned is still down here. This is they call it the shanty boat dock or the houseboat dock. And here again, another pier that nobody has walked on. And out on the end of it is a great blue heron. This little camera doesn't have a zoom, but you can see him standing out there. And as I walk out, you'll probably see him. There he goes. Took off. He didn't like my intrusion. Can't blame him. And I'm in deep snow again. Anyway, the third houseboat I owned is still down here. I bought a fourth houseboat, and it's the best one I've owned, and it'll probably be the last one I'll own. It's a much better boat, and it's down on Goose Pond Island, or Goose Pond Resort. I'll take you down and show it to you sometime when I get a chance. And the backwater, you can tell it hadn't been real cold because there's a little skim of ice there, but no ice there. Let me show you down here what's going on with how deep the snow is. My 2 daughters got on to me for making pictures of my feet. I said that was crazy to make pictures of your feet. And here's my old boat. Let me back up so you can see it. This is a Stardust Cruiser. You see it's covered up with snow. Stardust Cruiser. It's a steel hull boat. And this boat was built about 1967. So that's makes it right at 50 years old, doesn't it? In 2 more years, it'll be 50 years old. And you can see the old steel hull there, everything covered. But it's in pretty rough shape. I kept it in fair shape till I sold it. And got some hunters bought it, fishermen and hunters too, I suppose, bought it to use as a lake cabin. I gave them a real good deal on it. And they've added an air conditioner to it, and they come up and pull their fishing boats up right to the side of it. It's a great fishing lake out here, as I've said before. Bass, crappie, catfish, brim, whatever you want to catch. And I built a little floating dock out of styrofoam. You see it down there. It's got little poles that go into the ground on the bottom to hold it in place. And the boat is moving instead of the dock moving. But anyway, they bring their bass boats up and tie them up there. And they tie up 2 or 3 bass boats around different places on the houseboat, and use that as their floating cabin, and just have a big time fishing. Yeah, it's a campground. As I said in one of my previous videos, the plans are to completely redo the park down here, and it needs it very badly. And they want to move some of these campers that are out here in the entrance area where people that have no interest in camping are. And I think they're going to move a lot of those back into this area and then leave that front area maybe for transients or tent campers or something like that, which I think is a good idea too. I would agree to that. Anyway, got a lot of good memories in this little dock here. My old boat sat in the place right here. It was 16 feet by about 30 feet, 32 feet or something. But I suppose it finally reached the end of its life. It was built on huge pontoons that were filled with styrofoam. And the local man here built it. I probably could think of his name if I tried real hard. But he built it and used it several years. Of course, he's gone now. I want to say McAnally, but I'm not sure of that. Doesn't matter anyway, I guess. All right, I'm going to get off the end of the dock here and head somewhere toward back home. And my house is that direction. And if I walked straight, which I can't because of the woods and the roads, but if I walk straight over there, it'd be about a half mile. And going back the way I'll have to go, it's probably 3/4 to a mile. But I'm getting my exercise and getting to enjoy this crunchy snow and taking you along too. I've been thinking about, I haven't done a video in a week or two, I guess. And as I said in my previous video, I have more spare time now due to being off 5 days a week, still work 2 days a week. And I've been thinking about what direction I want to go with my videos. You know, you have some mileposts in your life. And I've just passed one of those mileposts. Well, 2 of them, I guess. This is my 70th year being on this planet. Not saying where I was before. And this is the first year in 50 years, about 50 years, that I haven't had a full-time job. And I have more spare time than ever. And you know, it takes some adjustments. When you're used to getting up, I usually get up 5:30 every morning, drive about 40 miles, work an 8 or 9 hour day, drive 40 miles back home, get ready for the next day. But that's changed, or changing, and I know it's not going to be too long before I'll be off every day. And I'm not sad about that. It's just like I say, a milestone, a benchmark that I've got to adjust to. And so far, I'm enjoying it. I have a fairly stressful job. As I've said before, I work in engineering, do contract work for the military and NASA, things like that. And some of this fairly stressful work, especially the last 3 or 4 years, have been overly stressful. I had 2 huge jobs going and not enough help. And the company's changed hands and it's complicated things. It's made it more stressful than ever. So this is really a relief to get away from that. Of course, you know, I don't think you ever get away from all stresses. But now you have, when you pass this milestone, you have different stresses, I suppose. Not as demanding. 5 days a week, I can pretty well, I still have family, still have a young daughter at home. But I can pretty well do what I like, but still keeping up my family responsibilities, I guess you'd say. But anyway, that's probably the direction I'm going to go. I know there's a lot of people my age, or maybe younger, on YouTube, or trying to deal with learning computers or the internet or working with technology. And my advice is you might as well. It's not going away. It might get some easier, might get a bit easier, but I don't think we've seen anything yet what's coming as far as technology. And it's affected our lives, and it will continue to affect our lives. No doubt about that. So I thought maybe I'd kind of point my YouTube work. I still want to do my walks and my nature journeys, adventures. Maybe get off into that. See if I could be of any help to people that may be trying to adjust to this different technological world. And I'd recommend it to anybody, any age. Of course, the young people, they adapt right into it. They don't need any help. We need help from them. But I know a lot of older people probably could use help. Now, I am one of those older persons. I'm going to try to find a trail again here. Up a little hill. And the snow is really falling off the trees now. There's some birds in the trees that are helping with the fall. I think I found the trail again. Show you the birds. I'm knocking leaves off the snow out of the trees. Beautiful. No doubt about it. Here you see some of our Easter red cedars. These things are evergreen, so they stay green year round. And the other things you're seeing there are maples and oaks, and hickory, and I don't know what all, sycamore. And believe it or not, I told you this was a bass fishing lake. I want you to look at that. He's probably got a day off from work. Can't work because of the snow, but he's not letting that hold him back. He's going bass fishing. And he'll catch some. February and March around here are big bass months. Fish have kind of been underfed all winter, and they're ready to start the spring. And they're hungry. The water's still cold, but they get a little more active. Understand that the bass stay in deep water during the cold weather, which is a little warmer. But then when it warms up, they come out into the shallows. And I think I'm back on the paved trail here. I'm going to turn it so you can see back in the woods. Robert Frost would have something to say about this. Wasn't his one of his poems about stopping by the woods on a snowy evening? If you don't remember it, or if you've never heard of it, look it up on the internet. You'll enjoy it. And I can't repeat it by memory. It's kind of a long poem. Beautiful. Let's see. Here's another one that I think Frost wrote also, called Birches, that you might want to look up. He was talking about snow in the birch trees. I just had a swath of snow come across my nose. I don't know if you can see it or not. Fell out of a tree here. I hope I have the angle right on the camera this time. I think I do. And this will be another long one. But you've got to see a lot of snowy Alabama scenery that you normally wouldn't have gotten to see. And it'll be gone soon. But it's recorded for, if not forever, for a long time on YouTube. People can go back and watch whenever they choose. So yeah, there's Mess About 1 out in that 10-inch snow on February 25th of 2015. I remember that old boy. He's gone now, but there's his video. I think about that. They say that things that you upload to the internet, most things, are going to be there somewhere forever. And knowing Google and YouTube, they're going to archive this stuff. So it's a good possibility that one of these days, I know my grandchild watches it, Lexa, because she's old enough to watch it now on her little mini iPad. But I might have great grandchildren that get to watch this. That's something to, I guess that's something to think about. Maybe you ought to be careful what you put on YouTube. If you know your great-grandchildren and your great-great-grandchildren may go back and watch it one of these days, you hope they won't say, well, Granddaddy sure was a fool. Oh boy. And from some videos I've seen, that's exactly what they would say. Some of mine, probably. But it's a good record. That's a good thought. So if any of my future descendants are watching this, hello from your kinfolk, Richard, Mess About 1 from this year 2015. Saw the other day, back up the trail, I think. Saw the other day where Facebook is going to allow somebody to take over a Facebook page of a deceased person. Now I'm supposing there might have to be some prearranging or even some verification that you were related. I thought that was maybe the indication of modern times or coming times, that already somebody's Facebook page lives on past them and it's still there functioning, has pictures, has videos, has things that they wrote, what they were thinking about. I guess that's good. I'm sure YouTube will do the same thing, although my understanding is YouTube owns these videos when you upload them to somewhat. I guess they can do what they want to with them. And they're making plenty of money, billions, off of people making their own little videos and music videos and movie clips and whatever. Well, I was thinking I can cut across short here. I was on the trail, but I'm going to step over this barrier. Take a few steps off. I've still got to go back up the County Park Road to get to the house. And somebody been doing donuts right here in the middle of the parking lot. Teenage hormones. And maybe this thing will turn out, I don't know how all the white in the background. Well, I think it'll turn out good because I watched Renato this morning. He uses almost the same setup I have here. And out in the snow, his did very good. And Renato, if you're watching this thing, I hate it about you breaking your microphone plug. I know that cuts a man deeply. Even though you can get another one for about 12 bucks, I think 15 bucks. Just the destruction of electronic equipment, video equipment, is heartbreaking sometimes. Been watching an old boy. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name right now. He's a truck driver. Josh Trucker, or Josh the Trucker. And he makes videos while he's driving around the country in his semi-truck rig. He goes from Canada to the South to the Midwest, And he has an old dog that goes along with him named Diesel. Josh and Diesel. I've been enjoying his videos. He'll start off and if you watch YouTube and know who the Wheezy Waiter is, I think he may be the Wheezy Waiter's son or something. He has a lot of characteristics. Has a beard. Has a lot of characteristics of the Wheezy Waiter. But he goes all over. And he starts off just kind of talking before he leaves out from his place where he's spent the night, where he slept. And then he'll speed up his rendering, his upload, so everything moves real fast. It's showing him going down the interstates and the roads and whatever, and then he'll slow it back down and talk a little more. It's kind of fun to watch. He's a talented guy, loves trucking. All he wants to do is drive truck. And he's always talking about, he drives up in the snow. This would be nothing to him to drive in. He drives up in the snow area and everything. He's always talking about he's going to save up enough money and don't drive during the wintertime when the conditions are so bad. And he'll take off and just park his truck and he'll go to Key West or somewhere down on the Gulf, or the Atlantic. And he mentioned a few times going to the Gulf Coast along Mobile, Destin, Panama City, somewhere along in there. But let me tell you, Josh, if you happen to watch, it gets cold on the northern part of the Gulf Coast in the winter time. It gets very cold. They have some nice days, nicer than we do here, of course. Still, it gets cold, mighty cold. And I've got vehicles coming from both sides, so I'm going to stop here and stay out of their way, not get runned over as I've been warned before. See what this guy's going to do. I think he's going to the left. I forget who it was recommended. Oh, it was Mike, one of my Facebook buddies that seen some of my walking talks. He says, I got some advice. Don't get out there and get runned over. I'll try not to. I'm gonna have to hit the snowbank though. Here comes another vehicle. I'll stay on the pavement for a bit here and then I'll take off to the side. Here we go. I think I'm in a ditch. Everybody's driving nice and slow. He's turning off, so I'll get back up in the dry place. And since they've run the grader down County Park Road, it's just wet. Just a few little smidgens of melted snow on it. Things will be returning to normal on the highways very soon. Very soon. And I still haven't gotten cold. Matter of fact, I'm still a little sweaty. That's good, I guess. Maybe nobody will be sick from all this bad weather. So I'll get back to the house and take this thing and dump it off into my computer, run it through Vegas, my editing and rendering software, and then after I do that, I'll upload it to YouTube. I've been putting notices lately. I have a lot of local people on Facebook. I've been putting links on Facebook to my YouTube stuff. Local people seem to enjoy that. Although it's different with people that know you and people that don't know you. You kind of wonder what they think. Most of them are complimentary. All of them are complimentary. I think they enjoy it too. They know it's a hobby. And not a hobby that's hurting anybody. So what can you say? We were out for Valentine's Day and we were in another town in this area, and another town's maybe 30 miles away or something, and standing and waiting to get a table. This guy walked by, and I didn't really understand what he said as he walked by, but I kind of caught it after he did get by. Didn't know him, hadn't seen him before that I know of. And when he walked by, he said, "There's must about one." And then he walked a little further down the little hall, and I guess he was thinking, well, I didn't hear him or recognize him. He said, "Mess about one." And by the time I recognized what he was saying, he was already going around the corner. Doing good, you? They're doing a good job getting the roads cleaned off. They run a road grader down through here, and that's all it took. Yeah. You got another problem there, though, don't you? Yeah, good luck.
Thanks.
That's an unusual scene there. When you got a guy in North Alabama having to shovel off his driveway so he can get his car out on the road. I may have to do the same, although my driveway is flat, but it's also snow covered. I'll have to try that when I get back. I'm going to let you see this side, which is the wooded area, while I'm walking. But this road is just, it'll be dry within another few hours. No problem. Then the mountain roads around here, the higher elevation, take them a little longer because it stays colder. It goes up down a few degrees as you go up the mountains. They're in the country roads that are not traveled. You won't have a road grader on them for a few days probably. And some of those may prevent people from getting out and getting around. And I'm approaching the last hill here before I turn off on Byron Road, which is my road. And I think that I've already walked through here and you've seen most of this. You should see a truck over here that's covered up. Pretty well covered. And I think I'll end this and then walk back to the house and see what I have to do there. I think probably the rest of the family is still sleeping on the snowy morning, although they'll want to get out in the snow. But it's going to be a wet snow today. So, hope you've enjoyed the snowy walk in northeastern Alabama. This is Richard Matthews, also known as Mess About One. And I thank you for watching, and I'll be back on again soon. So take care. Goodbye.